the Astros make no sense. Speaking of playoff races, like, how are you going to get swept by the Yankees, who brought up like 700 rookies all at once, and who couldn't have paid for a win? They couldn't have prayed for a win. They couldn't have bartered or traded for a win to save their life 4 or 5 days ago or 10 days ago. And now suddenly they bring up this young core and they call up Austin Wells and Jason Dominguez and all these other kids. And now bada bing. It's like they win like 8 out of their last 9.
Yeah.
It's wild. And it's not just that the Yankees are winning, it's that they swept the Astros. That's the thing that makes no sense.
I know. And that doesn't make any sense. And I wonder if it's one of those things where the Yankees are just playing free and loose now. Like they got these kids up who are just like, I got my shot. Like, I'm going to take advantage of it. And everybody else is kind of like, we're out of the playoff picture, almost guaranteed.
Almost.
Just about mathematically eliminated. So take all the pressure off. Just go play, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they've been putting too much pressure on themselves all season.
Wouldn't be surprised. Stanton hit his 400th career home run, which is very exciting. And we got some insight into Stanton not being such a bum.
Yeah.
Which I announced to his face earlier this season.
Man. You talk about that. I was sitting in right center field when the Mariners were in town, and I so badly wanted to yell "run" to Teoscar Hernandez because I yelled at the TV. I was like, well, now's my chance to yell it in real life. He didn't ever have to get on more than a trot in right field.
Oh,
it's like, of course.
I watched Stanton loaf.
Yeah.
Look, he's hit or miss at the plate right now, and I'm sure he's working through some stuff, and that's fine. But if you're going to put him in the field, then you absolutely have to move faster. You just have to at least look like you're trying, and he doesn't, and that makes me mad.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating to watch. Let's talk about the Rangers real quick, Brig, because I said a couple weeks ago that I didn't think they would make the playoffs. And with the way they played lately, it looks like they don't want to. And with the way that they didn't show up against the Astros this week, talk about baffling. Because they didn't just lose. They got outscored, I want to say it was 39-10 in 3 games.
Blah.
They got blown out of their own stadium.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we talk about that's baffling with the Astros. Like you said, they go get swept by the Yankees, and then they go run the Rangers right out of town, out of their hometown.
Right.
Right? Like, and Jose Altuve is the first guy ever to hit home runs in like 4 straight innings.
Seriously crazy. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. And the thing that's even crazier about it is Max Scherzer got shelled. Everybody's talking about the Scherzer-Verlander matchup. Those guys were teammates earlier this year. Now they're contending for a division title with one another, against one another. And I wonder if, because Scherzer has talked about having a dead arm late, I think it was in the playoffs a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder if, as he's getting older, if that dead arm is catching up with him earlier. And because I'm sure he was trying so hard to carry that Mets team on his back, right?
Totally.
So I'm curious if he may have overexerted himself in New York. Now he's gotten to Texas, and he had a couple good outings. I'll give him that. But at the same time, though, getting shelled the way he did against the Astros doesn't bode well for making a run in September. In September to get to October. At this point, they're not even in the playoffs. They're on the outside looking in.
And they brought you in specifically to help get him over the hump.
Him and Chapman.
That's what oh, no. Yes.
That turned out to be a terrible move.
Oh, man. I knew they'd
But this is the thing, is that the Rangers knew what they needed to address, which is the issue I said from the beginning, is pitching.
Yes.
Right? And so they addressed it with DeGrom, out. Address it with Scherzer, hasn't been great. Address it with Chapman, has been not good at all.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in high leverage situations, even worse in high leverage situations. So
right.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either.
But
Tell
it's
us about the
bananas.
Mariners, Brad, because it looks like they're a game up on Houston unless something shifted tonight.
They're half a game back from Houston. They were
Okay.
a game out going into today, but since they beat the Rays tonight, the Astros did
That's
not
right.
play. Half a game back at Houston right now. It looks like it could be a Houston-Seattle race to the finish there for the division. The Mariners, though, have 3 series. Their last 3 series of the season, it goes Rangers, Astros, Rangers.
Oh,
I might have a heart attack at the end of the month, Brig.
yeah. Who
At
do
the
the
very
Astros
least,
face?
indigestion.
I'm gonna look while you keep talking about the Mariners really quick.
I'm gonna keep the Tums handy that last week and a half
Tum. I
because
didn't say that. We are not sponsored by Tums.
it's gonna be super scary. But they've kind of cemented themselves in the wild card. They're a game and a half up on Toronto at this point, who quietly kind of came back. But I'm going to save this for the big show next week. But there's some really interesting things coming out of Toronto. I saw some stuff on X this morning. I was perusing, and fans have some interesting things to say about what's going on in Toronto. And like I said, I'll save it for next week. But it'll be fun to talk about. That's for sure.
So I hate to break it to you, bud,
What's up?
but Houston faces San Diego.
Oh yeah, I know they don't have a tough schedule.
Kansas
I saw
City.
something before that said that they have the most favorable schedule of the 3 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they
Because the
face
Mariners have to play the
Baltimore.
Dodgers next week.
Yeah. Then they go back to Kansas City.
Yeah.
And then the Mariners and the D-backs.
But with the way the Astros have been the last month, you don't know which team is going to make any of those trips or take on any of those teams. So
you're exactly right.
Who's to say?
But
right?
If they show up the way they're supposed to, it should be favorable. You're right.
Right. Well, and if the Mariners show up the way they're supposed to in these games, which they have not been this last week, terrible road trip so far, then they'll pretty much hold serve.